Music. It's one of the most beautiful things I know of. When I started playing music, started playing guitar, I had a lot of heroes, for example. Or this one. The reason I'm telling you this is because I tried to practice in a lot of different ways, and I actually felt like I'm shooting darts in the dark. And I spent a lot of time, but I actually lost a lot of time, and I want to save this time for you. The 10,000 hour question is, are you doing it right? Unfortunately, the answer is often not really. And the reason is this: a lot of people feel like they just need to check mark something and just kind of like saying, oh, I practice scale, I practice this and that, but they're not really there. They're not really listening, and they're not really trying to absorb information. I'm gonna go over a few crucial points that honestly I wish I knew when I started playing and started practicing, because I would have saved so much freaking time, and I really want you to succeed faster and better than me. So just listen carefully to all these points, maybe even write them down, and make sure you're practicing them. I want to try and do a 2-week music challenge where you practice these elements and try to practice with that awareness, and then see and drop a comment here after that, before and after would be cool, and see how these actually affected you and if it really works. I do believe it works, so this is why I'm talking about it. Before we dive in, I want to tell you that I'm releasing an album that I really care about, and I want to ask you to just pre-save it. It costs no money, but it will mean a lot to me, and it's really helpful for the music. So check it out here, and please pre-save it. Thank you. In order to progress with music, we need not only holding the guitar and playing notes, we need to actually listen to what we're doing. Music is the art of listening, so we really want to pay attention. Now, it sounds simple. You're like, well, this is all I'm doing. I'm listening, I'm playing. No, I'm telling you right now, if you are truly listening, if we are truly listening, and I'm telling myself that all the time, if I truly listen to this chord, I can learn so much information about music, about sounds, about relationships, about beauty. All this exists here. But I need to really pay attention. We need to pay attention. And it sounds easy, or it sounds, oh, duh. But no, it's really not easy. It's really hard. So I'm telling you, these 2 weeks, let's do it. Let's actually pay attention. When you're playing this chord, C major, listen exactly what's happening here. Or when you're playing this chord, the C major, or when you're playing, you know, the chords or the musical information doesn't matter as much as the paying attention to it. So really listening deeply and trying to tag and ask ourselves, how do we feel when this chord is being played versus this chord? Now, it's not about good or bad, but it's about connecting emotionally to the information and tagging it again and again so it's clear. Please click the like button and subscribe. It would mean a lot. When we're playing a scale, or a chord, or even just a line, we're oftentimes dividing our attention into two almost. One that is doing the action, playing the scale for example, and the second part is the self who's judging the action. So instead of spending 100% of my CPU into actually practicing, into learning, listening, and absorbing the music, I'm saying like, wow, this is really bullshit. This is the worst scale that was ever being played, or this is the worst, you know, the worst line that was ever played, etc., etc. We're basically judging the action while we do it. By doing the whole thing, we're actually losing a lot of CPU, a lot of processing power that can go into the learning process, into the wow and magical sounds that comes from our guitar or music, right? So we need to try, and again, this is a process. I'm not saying it's a one-day thing, but we need to try to be aware of it. The goal is to be aware of the simple stuff, the beauty, as much as the complex pieces of information. It's the same thing if we just pay attention. Listen to this. I'm playing a chord. You probably know this is C major 7. Now I want you to listen to it and tell yourself out loud in the room right now with me what you feel. Just try to articulate it. What does this make you feel? Right? This is the question. This is the 10,000 hour question. This makes me feel ... I don't want to say it because it's very personal. I'm going to play one more sound and then we'll distinguish between these two. This makes me feel... Say it, literally, tell me. And this. That process of listening and articulating this vague emotional landscape of these colors, for me, is really, really helpful. And it makes me be able to recognize it when I hear it, to play it and connect emotionally. Once there is an emotional connection, it's easier to learn more information faster. When I was in new school, I had an amazing teacher whose name is Hal Galper. He was teaching this rhythm section ensemble. And he talked about this idea of when you're playing, try to find a spot. Oftentimes it's, he said, on the left, or sometimes on the right, that you look at and you kind of feel that the music is almost being played like a CD or a vinyl, or, you know, a record basically is being played and you're just listening. So you don't actually want to listen to yourself when you're playing, but you want to listen to the outside. When I say the outside, I mean the people you're playing with. So look, we're not always playing with people. Sometimes it's just you in the room playing a chord. But even when that happens, it needs to be kind of from the outside as much as possible. So you're listening to this sound and you're enjoying the colors and being able to appreciate the sound as a sound, and not you know, whatever, John, Dave, Rotem, playing this E flat chord. It's not about me playing a chord. It's about the sound and relationship that I'm articulating by doing that. At least, again, that's how I see it. And I think that idea really helps. I think that idea of listening to the sound and enjoying and being able to interpret that from the outside. It's not me. I'm listening. And when I'm playing with people, I try again and again to listen to the drummer, listen to the bass player, listen to the piano player, more than just, oh, I'm playing guitar all the time, right? Again, it's a goal. It's not easy, but it's a great part in the process of learning music. Learning from the outside. Listening to the conversation. Practice with love and consistency. What I mean by that is when you're practicing something, where it's, again, it's a chord, it's a scale, it's a pentatonic scale, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you are connected to this thing and you're putting your attention, your love. For me, when I'm saying love, I mean attention. I mean, it's also love, but love is attention, right? So when you love somebody or you love an instrument, you put time in it, and that's attention. That attention needs to be really truthful. The same thing with consistency. These two really, really go together when we're talking about guitar and music in general, right? So when I'm trying to learn information, the consistency of it makes it possible for me to process it and not be overwhelmed, because I can say, okay, I'm going to practice half an hour piano every day, or I'm going to practice half an hour guitar, whatever it is that you're trying to do. But try to be consistent and look at the little beautiful changes that are happening while you do that for an extensive amount of time. Let's look at the beast right in the eye. Let's be honest. What is really hard for you? For some people, they would say, well, it's really hard for me to play and sing at the same time. Well, if that's the case, for example, and it's something that you're interested in, I would say do that the first thing in the morning. The first thing, go right ahead into the beast, right? Try to work with that beast. Try to work with the thing that is not easy for you. Or if you tell me, well, you know, I really want to compose and write, but I don't know what to do, I'll say, well, write every day for half an hour, every day. This is the first thing you do. Don't practice scale, just start composing something. The beast can be a lot of things, and the beast can change, but let's look at that beast right in the eye and work with it so we can actually nail it and find another beast. Some things take a lot of time to process and some things don't. Sometimes we need to kind of climb that mountain and raise ourselves up, and then we know that piece of information. Sometimes all you need to do is spend an hour or two figuring out once and for all, what is the cycle of fourth? Once and for all, how does those sounds in C major scale sound like? Can I sing it? If you spend an hour or two on that, I'm sure you can raise yourself up and hold that new skill within you, and it will be easier to learn other things. Learn from the music. The reason I'm saying it is because we all talk about sounds and colors and music, and a lot of people work only with tabs. Now, tabs is not a problem. It's a representation of sound, but the process of listening to something, figuring out and finding it, even if it's not easy in the beginning, is very important, because music is the art of listening. So we need to practice that idea and connect to the sounds in that way, right? Listening, processing, and then playing. This is the best way to learn music. So go to the music. One more very important point is singing. Now, you don't have to be an opera singer. I mention this often, but you do want to be able to listen to a sound, repeat it, and be comfortable with how your throat works. Now, everybody can do it. Everybody that speaks a language, and I think we all speak a language, we can do it. We just need to find and teach ourselves that place in our vocal cords. And it takes time sometimes. Sometimes it's not easy, but if you do it, you will nail it. And again, because we're talking about music, because we're talking about a guitar, it's very, very important to pay attention to that, and it will actually open a lot of things on the board while you're just quote-unquote singing. Take your time. We have a lot of time. We just need to pay attention, listen carefully, and things will happen. But you need to spend the time in this truthful way that is coherent to what you're trying to do. I'll see you guys very soon. Peace out.